the future, I guess.
No,
Whatever,
I understand.
whatever
I
you think
understand.
is fair.
You know, and I guess, you know, to Mr. or Councilman Cherney's point, you know, you do have a different level of responsibility. You are the PR guy, good, bad, or indifferent. But
Depends who you ask.
but you know, the other thing about it is there is only one mayor, so obviously that is a higher. There is a higher level of responsibility. You know, there's 4 council positions. You know, it's a lot harder to become a mayor than it is to become a council member. You know, so.
But I, you know, and that's fine, I think we should just propose whatever you want, but I want to reiterate, especially to the public, that we are just all equal here. We all carry the same weight, you know, the same amount of vote.
Well, the other thing,
That sounds clear.
clearly, we don't do this for the paycheck.
Right.
So I think somebody should make a motion as to what you think is fair.
I'll make a motion to approve it as presented.
Okay?
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Palava, second by Councilman Cherney. Any further discussion?
Yes, Your Honor, as long as there's a clarification on that CPI, not to have it in there. I believe Joel, the recommendation,
Is without.
Right.
Is
Yeah,
without.
it's with- yeah,
Okay.
it's not listed.
All right, thank you.
not listed.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider approval of ordinance 2021-307 and ordinance amending ordinance 2021-306 concerning city council elections. Mr. Erickson?
All right, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Again, this has been talked about off and on here regularly. Recently, the council directed staff to come up with a plan. Again, this information was presented at both the September 9th and September 30th council meetings. It's being proposed to switch to even year elections. Reasons why would be not to have an election every year in Lonsdale, save approximately $2,700 in odd year elections, and election judges are becoming hard to find. Again, briefly, the switch has to be done 180 days prior to the filing period, which would be between now and January 23. It takes effect either 240 days after publication or fixed date stated in the ordinance. If within 180 days of adoption, 10% of the voters can sign a petition, it goes to a referendum. We have talked about terms. It's proposed to lengthen the terms, keep the mayor's term at 2 years. And that's a quick summary of the proposed ordinance.
Okay, anybody have any
I think
thoughts?
it's a good idea to go to the even years, and like you said, the election judges are harder to find, and there's more work.
Voter turnout is reduced
Right.
too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you save money as well.
Well, but that's another, that's a very concrete reason, but there's all these other additional benefits.
Well, I'd move to approve, Your Honor.
Motion by Councilman Cherney,
Second.
second by Councilman Kadada. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider approval of Resolution 2021-56, a resolution approving the classification and potential sale of non-conservation forfeited land. Mr. Erickson?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The city's being requested by Rice County to review and consider approval of the classification and sale of 505 3rd Avenue Northwest, which has been forfeited for non-payment of property taxes. State of Minnesota owns the parcel. Rice County is working through the process to sell the parcel. They desire to offer it initially to adjacent property owners. The city planner reviewed our comprehensive plan, and there are no identified public purposes. By approving Resolution 2021-56, the council stating the city does not have a public purpose for the parcel, stating the classification of the parcel as non-conservation, and agreeing to sell the parcel to an adjacent property owner. With that, if there's any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Councilman Cherney?
Your Honor, Joel, is this the property on Main Street?
No.
It's not, is it?
No, this is between 3rd Avenue Northwest and Bixby's property on
Okay.
the northwest side of town.
All right. Do you still have, if that would go to a public auction, do you as the city manager, in our behalf, can you go and bid on that?
Not without authorization.
No, but we have that authority to give you that authorization if we,
For the parcel in question,
yes.
I don't know why the city would want it.
Okay, that's what I was really going for. Okay, thank you very much.
Joel, is there already a purchase agreement in place with an adjacent property owner? Okay.
I think it's a tax forfeited property. I think the only one that would really benefit from it would be an adjacent property owner.
Correct.
Yep,
Okay.
therefore I move we approve 2021-56.
Motion by Councilman Kadada,
Second.
second by Councilman Palava. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider approval of Resolution 2021-57, a resolution approving the classification and potential sale of non-conservation forfeited land. Mr. Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council again.
This one's just down here.
The city is being requested by Rice County to consider approval of the sale and classification of this small strip of land on 4th Avenue Northwest. Again, city planner reviewed our comprehensive plan. There are no identified public purposes, and the city, by approving resolution 2021-57, the council is stating that there's not a public purpose for the parcel, agreeing with the classification as non-conservation, and agreeing to the sale of the parcel to an adjacent property owner.
So is this just a swale or something like that, or?
It almost looks like an abandoned alley, I would say.
Okay.
Can you clarify that, Joel? Abandoned alley or swale?
I don't know what it is. I think it just got platted and that little piece got left out. Because the city to the north would own the right of way. And it's not part of that, so it had to have been part of the property to the south at one time.
I think basically the same as the last property. I
it's-
don't think
yeah.
it can benefit anybody but the property adjacent to it.
Correct.
I move
Just
we
more
approve
gross than
resolution 21-57.
Motion by Councilman Kadada,
Second.
second by Councilman Palava. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider approval of Resolution 2021-58, a resolution requesting Brody Cup be accepted as a member of the Public Employees Police and Fire Plan, effective the date of Cup's initial police and fire plan salary deduction by the city of Lonsdale. Excuse me. Mr. Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council.
You're coming in loud and clear now.
Typically, when the city hires part-time police officers and they get enrolled in PERA, they get put into the coordinated plan. But typically, if they have a full-time law enforcement job or are going into law enforcement, like Mr. Cup is, it's desired to put them into the police and fire plan, so they have just one pension going forward, and they don't have to deal with the two of them. This is a common practice, again, like I said, for full-time law enforcement and law enforcement personnel starting their career off with the intent of being full-time in law enforcement. Staff would recommend approval of Resolution 2021-58.
So move.
Motion by Councilman Kadada, second by Councilman Palava. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That concludes the planned agenda. On to other business, department reports. Mr. Vlasak.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, we are working on trimming boulevard trees right now, and we will be hauling biosolids later this week or the beginning of next week. That's all I had, unless you have any questions.
No, thank you, sir. Mr. Nick.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. So update on a 2021 project. Project now substantially complete. We did start with punch list items. Some items will wait till spring, and then we'll have Ware paving, last final lift of paving before June 30th next year. And then we have started design on the 2022 project. We'll work closely with Russ on identifying all the utility improvements that we've identified, work together on that, and then have design done this winter. That's all I got. Any
Good.
questions?
Buddy? Thank you, sir. Mr. Erickson.
I guess thanks for everyone's patience, and just let everyone know the camera was working, not working, not working. So thanks, Ben, for helping me out, and unfortunately, get prepared for the beatdown. That's all I have.
The conspiracy theory, yeah. Believe me, there is no switch and no cords by the mayor's table here, let me tell you.
I got up for a water this time.
Did you? Yeah, yeah. I should leave my water on the table, actually, right? Mr. Baker,
Just a quick permit update. We are to 1,300 permits this year. 764 re-roofs and 191 re-roofs, re-sides. So for almost 1,000 re-roofs and re-sides. So, and then I think Mr. Tupy was talking about it earlier from that meeting at August 30th when we had the Planning Commission and Council together. We compiled a list of potential developers and builders and landowners in the area and sent that out, and we have gotten 3 or 4 responses so far, so. These people are looking at Lonsdale, so.
yeah. You know, I think Gary touched on it. I mean, the cost of development's gonna be so expensive, you know, it'd be hard pressed to keep a lot under 100 grand, I think, you know. But,
You
Yeah.
think houses are expensive right now?
Right.
yeah. So, okay, thank you, Mr. Baker. Councilman Cherney.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Another thing I have on the docket is next Tuesday, there'll be a public, well, it's already been published. Joel's actually going to be testing the voter machines, and that's been made public. I know there's some interested folks that'd like to see that process, and just flagging that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Councilman Kadada.
Planning zoning, November 1st, we have a meeting. One of the main things we'll be going over is what we just saw tonight, the plat for Gary's property there. And the following Tuesday, I believe that's the 9th, will be the park board meeting. That's all I have.
Thank you for all your work, sir. Councilperson Fearer.
The EDA will have their meeting next week, and if Scott would like to give an update on the BRE event last night.
Councilman Palava.
So last night, the EDA hosted the final meeting of the Business Retention and Expansion Program, also known as Connecting Businesses and Communities. We went over, for those that don't know, from the inception was we put together a task force, interviewed businesses, compiled their answers, then it was put into a report form where a number of things were identified as needing attention. Then we went back and from there developed small task force, and the small task force then worked